I rank the best short selling opportunities in the stock market right now. Come on and look at the first one over here. This is SkyWest. This is a short that I am currently in. And why do I think that I would have been extremely patient on this one? A member of the Patreon community brought this one to my attention, and it instantly moved to the top of my watch list on the shorting side. Now, I was looking at this thing back somewhere in this range. And why didn't I just jump into it right away? You're probably saying, well, you were at the top here. The stock price seemed pretty high. You kind of had this big wick right here that pulled back down. Why didn't you just enter it? Because we don't just enter stocks based on price action alone. That's where a lot of people get in trouble. And that's where a lot of people say shorting doesn't work. Shorting does work. If you want to be a profitable trader, if you want to do this for a living, if you want to do this as a true supplemental income, you have to be able to trade both ways, meaning go long on stocks and go short on stocks. So you don't just get in right away. You have to base it on the trend. Now, let's go and look at the trend. So here, we started to see the red line crossing under the yellow, which was an indicator that we were going to have a nice short. Now, we didn't do anything here. We didn't do anything here. We didn't do anything here. We finally pounced right here. Why? Because we got a good engulfing candlestick. An engulfing candlestick down tells us that there's a lot of people that are coming into the stock. There's a lot, and you can see here, there's a lot of sellers coming into the stock. You need people on your side. I haven't said this one in a while in a video, but I need to say this more often. If you want volume going in your direction, think about it this way. You're pushing a boulder up a hill. Does it help to have one person pushing that boulder or 10 people pushing that boulder? Better yet, 100 people pushing that boulder. Obviously, you want more people pushing the boulder up the hill. That's exactly what volume is. You want more people on your side pushing in the same direction. That's what an engulfing candlestick tells you with good volume going in the direction you want it to. In this case, it's selling. So we entered the stock there. Now, some people may look at this and say, well, why did you enter there if you were running into the 100-day moving average? Well, that's a great question. But when I'm long-term trading over here, not swing trading, when I'm long-term trading, I don't really care too much about moving averages. I care much more about the overall trend and the volume. If the trend is there, remember, my goal is to be in this thing for 2 to 4 plus weeks, right? So am I really going to care about the day-to-day that's happening, the day-to-day resistance points, the day-to-day support levels? No, I'm not. That's not the idea. So when I'm entering a long-term trade, I'm basing it off of 1, trend, 2, volume, check, 3, engulfing candlestick, check. Now we're into the stock. And we have had a couple of really great days coming down. Now, I also want to point out here, and those of you that are in the Patreon community will identify this quickly. I need positive days in here. Yesterday, we were up about 1% at one point, and I was very happy. Earlier today, we were up about 1% at one point, and I was very happy. Now the stock price is down. I want the stock price to be positive at one point. Why? Well, look at this. If I pull up a line chart, what do I need? Coming down, I need M formations like this. This is what I need my chart to look like. And the only time that I'm going to get these M formations built in there is what? If the stock closes positive for one day. Now, do I want it up 10%? No, I want it up 1%, 1.5%. So ideally, I would have this close up here today, and then we just continue the march down and up here and down. That gives me these different support resistance points that it cannot break above. This is a great example right here, actually. The stock price started to come down, it pulled up a little bit. It started to come down, it pulled up a little bit. Started to come down. This one, it started to go up, and look where it stopped before it started moving down. Now you need these M formations because it shows you, look at this. Let's draw this one in here. Let me clear this out and show you real quick. Here, now look where the top M was. See that? This is the power of the M formation. This bottom area right here was not able to go above this resistance point, and that is why you need these M's. So we're going to keep looking and saying, let's let this march down, but we need these pullbacks to happen. And you're not going to hear a lot of people on YouTube or a lot of traders say, I need stocks to go against me, because they don't understand how resistance and support works. You need stocks to go against you at some point. It can't just all be down if you want a good short. It can't just all be up if you want a good long-term trade, because what's going to happen? This is what's going to happen eventually if this continues. You had a great move down, but one day it's just going to go right back up on you. And there's nothing you can do about it because it didn't have any support or resistance points built into it. So we're going to keep following this trend, and we're going to hope that this goes lower and lower. And eventually, I'm thinking that we can get down to this 87 level, which would be absolutely fantastic. Now, the next stock that is setting up for a great short, and a stock that I really love shorting, and there's a lot of people in the community that really love shorting this stock, it's CCL, Carnival Cruise Line. Now, why is this one such a great short? Well, I'm going to pull up only the long-term chart here and show you guys, and this is dating back to 2020. Here was kind of your high of 2020, or before the big fall off happened, right? So let's just draw a straight line across there. And we got all the way down here in 2020 when nobody was going on ships anymore. COVID was a big thing, right? Now, this area in the middle, look at this. You're looking at this saying, well, what is all of this blackness up here? Well, this is called overhang. Why does that happen? I'll explain to you right now why this happens, but it's so important to be able to identify this on any chart. Now, people that were in right here, they were at $42. And this doesn't just happen from a situation like COVID. This can happen from a bad earnings report. This can happen from really anything. Boeing Airlines, this happened to them. Now, it happened to be COVID, but they have been in a very, very tough position based on so many other things besides COVID. This probably would have happened to them anyways, and they still cannot break above all of this overhang. So you're right here, you're at $42. One day you wake up and the stock price is down here at $7 to $8. Now, these people down here, that's a big fall. These people down here are saying, if I can just get half my money back, I'll be very happy with this. And it runs up and they get about half their money back. Then what happens? All those people, they sell, right? And it comes all the way back down. And the people that didn't sell here are saying, okay, if I can just get half my money back from the fall from 42, I'll be happy. So it gets back up here. What happens? They sell. Same situation here, sell. Same situation here, and so on and so forth. And you can tell it just never gets above that level. That's exactly where we're at right now. And you might say, wow, this goes all the way back to 2020. Absolutely, it does. This is about 5 years, and look where we are. It tried to break through, it failed. It tried to break through, it failed. We're right down here. So let's zoom in and see what we have going on. So this resistance point is about $27, $28. So I put a tracker share on this back then, and I'm saying, all right, this is going to fail. It's going to fail at $27 to $28, 100% chance it's going to fail. Why? Because the volume is not there to support it. You might be asking a really good question. How do you break above 50%? Well, you need to have fantastic volume for a very extended period of time. You need to have volume, turn this to green, that is about up here, green for 10, 15 days in a row. That's going to just propel the stock price higher. You're obviously not getting that. Most of the time, you don't get that when it comes down to a 50% rule stock. Something is going to push it out of there. It's going to be an earnings report. It's going to be good news of some capacity. You're not having that right now. So we know that we're going to fall right back down. I am very confident in my honestly, today, if I got an engulfing candlestick today that looked like this, let me change this to red. If I get an engulfing candlestick that looked like this today, I'm in the stock. I am in this trade. I think that more likely than not, it's going to happen tomorrow or the following day, where I'll get something like this, an engulfment down below the 100-day moving average, even better. Volume is there. This is going to be a fantastic trade. And you're saying, all right, well, let's say that you enter this. Where's it going to go to? Well, if we notice here, this has a long way to go. We kind of rallied up here, which is not often a good thing. Why? It creates a flagpole. Now, are there M formation or W formations in there? Yes, but it's not super strong. So I think that my target here is to, let's draw that yellow engulfing candlestick. We'll face a little resistance here. Maybe we'll face a little resistance here. This could be the bottom, 29. But I do think that we can get down to this $14 range. Why? Because that 50% rule is so powerful. It's just going to send stocks down. And there's a lot of people up in here that have still not sold since 2020, 2021 that are saying, all right, I'll just take half my money back, take the 50% loss, and it's going to plummet the stock again. And we're just going to keep trading it over and over again. And that's why I love CCL so much right now. Now, the next stock, Lululemon. Lulu is an interesting one because this has been a darling of the stock market for such a large amount of time. And you can see here, big rallies up, big swings down, big gaps everywhere. Well, Lulu, to me, the only thing we have to pay attention to with is April 1st earnings, which we still have plenty of time. We have about a month, but it's the same situation as far as candle goes on as CCL. I am looking for one specific thing. I'm looking for an engulfing candlestick down. As soon as I get that candle, I'm going to enter the trade. I have a tracker share on this right now. And honestly, if it did this today, I'm in it. If it doesn't happen today, I'm waiting for this to do this tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday, what have you. But one more engulfing candlestick is going to throw this into the sweet spot. There is not enough buying volume in there to say that this is going to run back up to these all-time highs. Now, this is interesting because a lot of you may be looking just like you were looking at SkyWest saying, well, what about that 100-day moving average? Again, this kind of hybrids the two trades of CCL and SkyWest and kind of puts it into Lululemon because we're running into that 100-day moving average. We need the engulfing candlestick just to happen today or tomorrow. It's very interesting, but I'm not super worried about the 100-day moving average because it's a long-term trade. Now, if I was swing trading it, it's a different story. But I do think that one engulfing candlestick gives me a trade. Now, where can we take this down to? Well, this has a lot of room to run. There's a big gap that is about to be filled. So that's fine. I wish we could fill another gap, but there's not a lot of support in here. We're probably going to get down to 312. Maybe 300, but this could be a very profitable trade for a very long period of time. Just ignore that 100-day moving average right now, which is weird for me to say to a lot of people, but once you get through it, it's game on. Now, another one I'm looking at, Jets. Jets has been one that I've had a tracker share on for quite some time, but that's the beauty of a tracker share. The point of the tracker share is to see it in your brokerage account every single day. And I probably put the tracker share on sometime back in December. And yeah, it ran up, but it ran back down. But look at this worst case scenario. And this is an ETF. It's not a company, but let's pretend it's a company for a second. Or it could be an ETF, doesn't matter. I put a tracker share in here, $24. Worst case scenario, Jets as a company goes out of business, never exists again. I lose $24, right? Big deal. The point that I make when I'm making tracker shares is look at this watch list here. There's so much on here. There's so many different things going on. I'm going to forget about it. If I come over here, look at this watch list. This is crazy. All of these different, I'm going to lose it in there. There's no doubt. There's no way that I'm going to be able to catch it. I need to have it on a tight watch list. Plus, I need it to be at the top of my brokerage account so I see it every day. And that's exactly how I saw this one. I didn't find this from looking at my watch list. I found this from seeing multiple down days in my brokerage account saying, oh, okay, it's almost time for Jets. Let me go take a look at it on the chart and look what we're seeing here. Again, moving into the sweet spot, getting to the 100-day moving average. This one I'm going to let drop below the 100-day moving average. Why? Well, I needed to drop below the 100-day moving average because we're not exactly ready on the trend. The trend, I want red and yellow to both be below this 80% horizontal line. When it drops below 100-day moving average, that's going to happen. That's why I'm waiting for this type of engulfing candlestick. So once we get this, which moves below the 100-day moving average, we're going to have a lot of room to run here because this thing, as you can see, has gone from August. This has gone for a long time, just going up, up, up. We're starting to see some retail travel. People are getting a little bit worried in that space. We're starting to see a lot of things happening in the air with airplanes. Listen, take advantage of it from a trading perspective. Take advantage of that negativity that's going on out there, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. This thing has a lot of room to fall. Not saying it's going to, but it has a lot of room to fall. You kind of have these, if you drop below this 24.30 area, you're going to come down to 23.40. And then from there, who knows? Because this is a very, very quick run. You'll probably run into some support here around 20, but I wouldn't be surprised if you saw this thing come back to the 16, 17 range. Because these types of stocks can fall very, very quickly, especially if the news is behind them that is generating that negativity. So you may be asking yourself at this point, okay, now I understand the concept of shorting. I see why it's so important, but how did you find these? And that's a great question. And it can be very, very difficult to find shorts on your own. It's difficult to find trades on your own, but specifically shorts because it's counterintuitive. It's not something that we learn to do. When we think about buying, we think about trading stocks, we think about going long, we think about a company goes up in price, we make money. This is a company goes down in price and we make money. So where did I find SkyWest, CCL, Lululemon? These were all from the Patreon community. These were all found on live streams that came right to the top of my watch list. So SkyWest, that was on a live stream. I vividly remember that one. Lululemon, vividly remember that one. Steve Kronk is a guy who trades CCL religiously. He makes so much money going up and down on it in the community. That's where I got CCL. And Jets is one of my favorites. I love trading Jets, but the community brought this one to me because one day I said, hey, somebody tell me about airlines. I haven't looked at airlines in quite some time. Now, I know that trading can be a very lonely road because I was there at one time. And guys, the community that I started trading with years and years ago, this was probably in the 2010, somewhere in that range when I first entered my first community, it was $140 a month. And that was back in 2010. I could be charging that. I actually am offering more now than that community was offering to me. And it's the same concept behind the skills. So join the community. And I'm offering this to you for only $35 because I want you to have the opportunity to come in and learn how to trade. I want everybody to be able to have this skill. So I gave you a pretty comprehensive video of how to short, but this is not all complete because you need to be able to put together everything that has to do with trading. You have to be able to put together patterns, volume, etc. Click on this video right here. It's going to give you everything that you need to know to become a great trader. I'll see you there.